Friday, August 18th. Where to begin? Posted next to this video is a weekly newsletter, which is twice its normal length. The first half of it is a, if not numbing, let's just say complex dissertation on the Fed's pending reduction of its balance sheet. The Fed, in order to get us out of trouble in 2009, began to buy a few $1 trillion worth of treasuries and mortgage-backed securities. January of 2009. Stopped in 2014 when the banking system had recovered enough to generate credit. The Fed now feels that the economy is strong enough and we're at the right part of the cycle that the Fed can begin to let these bonds and mortgage-backed securities go. And many people are concerned about the effect of the rundown. I think there's a tremendous amount of misinformation about it. It's not that hard to understand, and I wrote it all down, and I'd encourage no one to be worried except to be worried about anybody who told you to be worried. So that's all there, and the reporting about this when it starts is going to be epic. The Fed's going to announce reverse quantitative easing in mid-September with a commencement date maybe in December. Probably hold off on interest rate hikes until it sees how reverse QE goes. And if it doesn't go well, if I'm wrong, they'll just stop. The second half of the newsletter is a political addendum, and I don't mean to offend anyone. I'm as fair-handed in it as I could be, trying to describe the market impacts of what took place this week and trying to look around the corner to what might happen next. And I say again, I don't mean to offend anyone. I'm a political junkie because my parents were political junkies and their parents were political junkies, and it all just rolled downhill and I can't avoid it. And keep your sense of humor. There's a certain entertainment value, but I think most people think that the situation changed this week, and maybe the most striking part of it, the president is the president. The likelihood that he will change is low. He is who he's always been. The Congress is inert. The Republican leadership of Congress has no way to know how to behave in a circumstance like this because we've never really seen it before. The Watergate affair was a completely different affair than this. And one of the most powerful signs of political shift is when the general public or parts of the public sector begin to move ahead of other political leadership. There are times when political leadership ought to be inert and ought to wait for the public and the public sector to declare itself and then move forward of its own accord. And the most striking stuff to me this week was the en masse abandonment of the administration by the CEOs of all of the biggest and best corporations in America. That's never happened before. Those people tend to be politics averse. Just like me, they don't want to offend their clients. They certainly don't want to offend their employees, and it's most unusual to have them all at once wear out. Also, by Wednesday, the chiefs of all 5 branches of military service notified all of the members of their branches that they disagreed with the administration's remarks about Charlottesville. The military, since the 1950s, has been the most successful part of American society dealing with integration of minorities and extinguishing discrimination. And it's an extraordinary achievement. And the military is made up, one way or another, of almost 40% minorities and women today. And the chief's response in part was to reassure, just like the CEOs, their own employees. Business knows, the military knows, has long known, that the most important capital they have is their people capital, and to look after them. I'm struck also by young John Murdoch, who is the CEO of 21st Century Fox, which is the parent of Fox News. And yesterday he published a long missive that was painfully direct. The movement of that kind of leadership outside of and around Congress and moving into the forefront, that they're not executive leadership in the government and can't lead that way. But when they change as powerfully as they did this week, it opens the pathway for action by the leaders of Congress if they can. And none of this is easy, but it changed a lot this week. See you next week.